Want to use a PGR in your cereals but have no time for a separate pass? Manipulator PGR can be applied as early as one tiller. Just add it to your herbicide to reduce lodging, increase harvest efficiency, and maximize yields. Talk to your retailer for more info and to confirm acceptable tank mixes.
Now time to talk about the beef markets, and when we do that, of course, we talk to one person and one person only. It is Anne Wasko of the Gateway Livestock Exchange here for the beef market update. Anne, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Sean. Thank you for that welcome.
Yeah, well deserved. Okay, what's happened in the markets here this week?
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, little bit quiet. Texas did trade some cattle at 185 midweek, so that's going to be called a buck higher. But we haven't seen a lot of trade, especially through the Midwest. So we're looking for that to happen today. So keep your ears tuned. But it does sound, a buck higher in the South, I guess is what we'd call it now. That wholesale market, that choice cutout we keep talking about, it did gain $2.50 this week, Sean. So the choice closed last night at 295.40. June is usually when we make our highs in the cutout. It's struggling to get back over that $300 that you and I talked about 4 weeks ago. Lindsay and I talked about it 2 weeks ago. So it's really been struggling. So it is trading under a year ago, but it is up from where it was this time last week. That select spread, choice to select spread, still is fairly narrow. It's still under $10 this week. The 5-year average would be closer to 15, for example. Yeah. And again, I think that's a strong indication that we've still got really strong demand for more product, the round and the chuck to be ground into aid in supply for the shortness of supply on the 90 lean trim, that hamburger beef market, if you will. So I still think that's going on. It's been a very narrow spread, much longer. In June, we'll often get up into that 20 to 30 range in terms of that spread. So that's kind of interesting. It tells us still lots of demand for that hamburger product, and we're short of that supply. Here in Western Canada, the record just keeps rolling along. So we traded on a dress basis last night for 430 to 433 delivered dressed. That's steady to a buck higher than last week. So yeah, not any big gains, but we're certainly holding these record prices together that we've seen. Alberta cattle feeders, and Lindsay and I talked about this 2 weeks ago, have certainly gained leverage. Carcass weights have dropped drastically just in the last 2 weeks, Sean. 30 to 40 pounds dressed lighter in 2 weeks. So we've kind of moved right from, the yearling feds into the calf feds, and everybody's super current. Also, all of these things kind of click together. Our spot basis, where we trade vis-a-vis the U.S., we're into a premium position today. We don't often trade Alberta fat cattle premium to the U.S., but we've been there for a couple of weeks. This will be a third week in a row, about $4 to $5 over. Historically, Sean, that basis is strongest for Alberta in June. So I'm looking at the calendar and saying, well, the odds are in our favor that we're going to have a strong basis here for a little bit yet. So these are all great things that have gone from first quarter. We talked about all those things in the opposite term. Now in the second quarter, we're looking at all switches have been flicked on. So this is good deal.
Well, and we're going to talk about the results of the Canadian Farmer Sentiment Index for April on the Real Ag Issues panel on Real Ag Radio. But I want to bring up one piece of data from the April results, and that is outlook for livestock margins, Anne. Now, remember, the scale is 0 to 200.
Okay.
Outlook for livestock margins, 173. That's we're feeling good about our ability to potentially make money here right now.
I don't know what your history of that survey is, but has it ever been?
No, this is like we're we're in May. It's the month of the Taurus. Right?
Yeah.
It's my birthday month, so I am a Taurus, along with The Rock, by the way. He had his birthday in early May. But on that note, people are feeling bullish about this livestock market, or at least about their margins, I should say, which is great.
Which is great. As an old market analyst, I can use these old terms, but we used to say 10 foot tall and bulletproof, right? So that's kind of feeling how it is today. So that's all really good. I do think, one of the struggles, we're super current in Alberta feedlots, which is great. But here I'm as a cattle feeder. Do I pull cattle forward into these record high prices? Or I'm looking at my cost of gain, which is the lowest it's been in a few years. And I'm looking at record high prices. My economic wheels are turning and saying, for every pound I put on, I'm making some money. So it'll be interesting to see as we move forward here. We had to get current out of the first quarter, but now that we're there, it'll be interesting to watch these decisions.
Any thoughts on the Canfax cattle on feed?
Yeah, so Canfax will release their May 1 report this afternoon, and I do think that trend we've been seeing right since the start of the year, on-feed numbers dropping below a year ago, dropping below the 5-year average. So finally we're into those tighter supplies, and it's going to be led by smaller placements. So that's Anne's guesstimates for this afternoon's report, so we'll see how that comes off. And yeah, did you want to talk a little bit about retail prices?
Well, I wanted to ask you about the weather and the rain that we have got across parts of the prairies, and you're in one of those areas there in southern Saskatchewan that did receive good amounts of rain, as well as myself in Lethbridge. We're feeling good about ourselves. This is nice. It can rain, man. We've proven it.
Yeah, and some super warm weather this weekend. So I told you at the start of our conversation today. I think you'll hear Southwest Saskatchewan's grass grow from Lethbridge.
Yeah, it's a nice change over the last couple of years,
it really
right?
Is. Yeah, super.
Yeah. So, and it's what we've talked about. You got to have grass in order to have thoughts about heifer retention and things like that. So it at least gives options for people when Mother Nature cooperates in the ranching world.
Yeah, in any previous cycles, it's taken profitability and moisture. Yeah. And, we'd seen record profits last year or record prices last year. Now we've beat them, but it was the lack of moisture that really hampered those decisions. Now we've got the ducks lined up in a row.
Yeah. Hey, quickly, retail prices. What do we say?
Yeah, just real quick on this one, Sean. I just wanted to bring it up. March retail prices from StatsCan, so Canadian data. They were down 7% from February, and they're also 7% below last March. Wow. So the big high retail prices happened in the third quarter of last year, June, July, and August, or July, August, and September, sorry. And so prices have certainly come off, and especially here in March, we've seen beef prices come down. On the flip side, Sean, pork prices up 20% compared to February and up 26% compared to last March. So some narrowing of that gap. And I always worry about that. When beef prices get too far from pork, something's got to pull them back together again. So we saw that in March.
Okay. Hey, and thanks so much for joining us here today for the Beef Market Update. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll chat again soon.
You too. Thanks, Sean.